Hi, it's Chef and Builder Janie Pendleton, and this is my dog Lexi. Say hi, Lexi. Hello. Hello. Say hello. She's going to help me today teach you how to make chow-chow. That's how to use all the produce that's left over out of the garden. And you helped me pick all this today, didn't you? Yes, she did. Yes, you did. Give me 5. Means all the leftover stuff in your garden. You see a fly, don't you? You see the last of your garden fly, don't you? Oh my goodness. Anyway, Lexi's going to help me make chow-chow, aren't you, Lexi? She loves carrots. You want a carrot? You want a carrot? Look at these. Aren't they beautiful? I'm going to can some of these just whole, just like this right here. Anyway, me and Lexi here, we've spent the day. Did we spend the day in the garden? Yes, we did. We're a little sunburned. But we got the garden cleaned up and weeded and hoed, and we got some of the beginning of the produce off the vines, and we have some beautiful produce here from the garden. We've got pickles. They're just starting to come on. We have crookneck squash. We have some really large zucchini. We have banana peppers, red peppers, orange peppers. The yellow peppers are starting to come on. Again, the onions. We've got green peppers. They didn't bulk up like the red peppers did. We have some beautiful carrots here, and everything here I grew is organic, and it's just good to grow vegetables yourself. You can juice this. You can just juice the rinds of this if you're making something or any leftovers. But there's nothing better than fresh produce. There really isn't. Hey, you make throw ducky, don't you? Easy to entertain. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make some chow-chow out of this, and we'll be right back. I'm going to show you how to do it. Woo! So we're going to take this on over the sink. We're going to wash it in a vinegar and water solution. No, you didn't eat your carrot. You didn't want your carrot. This is nature's candy right here. It doesn't get any better than this. Come on, let's get started and let's make us some chow-chow. This is my recipe for it, because you know I got to give the Chef Janie a kick to everything. So come on and let's get started. Okay, here we're going to start with 1 or 2 heads of cabbage. We're going to try, I got my onions, my red onions out of the garden, but you can use a white sweet onion, which would be really good in this recipe. But I had, only my red onions were ready yet. So I just got 2 or 3 small red onions here. You can use however much of these vegetables that you like. If you don't like as much pepper, don't put as much pepper in. Put in more cabbage or more zucchini, okay, or more carrot. You know, adjust it to what you like. Now for color, I added 1 red bell pepper. It did my pepper, isn't that beautiful? And 1 orange bell pepper, that turned out awesome as well. We got 4 nice garden carrots here, and again, you can adjust that to whatever you like. We've got 1 large zucchini here. It's about the size of my forearm to give you an idea. 2 crookneck squashes. And or you can use more pickling cucumbers. Now I don't like to use just cucumbers. I like to use the actual pickles, because these are actually designed to work for pickles, to be more crisp. And this one broke because it was growing around the fence. You can see where it kind of curly cute around the fence there. Isn't that neat? See that? So I had to break it to get it off the vine. And then here we have 2 green peppers as well. We also have a banana pepper for a little spice. And that is my ingredients. All right, for our brine, we are going to have 5 cups of vinegar. We're going to have 4 to 6 cups of sugar, depending on the taste. You want to taste your brine first. See how you like it. We are going to have a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, a 1/4 teaspoon of garam masala. This is my secret ingredient. A couple of dashes of crushed red pepper. You can put in whatever you like here. Also, I'm going to put in 2 or 3 dashes of ground cinnamon. The garam masala has that in there, so I might omit that, because my garam masala has ground cinnamon in it. Just depends on the taste that I'm going for when I taste the brine. We know we're going to have some celery salt or celery seed in it. Okay, and then we're going to have, probably about a 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon of ground turmeric. That'll give some nice color. And then you can use mustard seed, or you can use ground mustard. I like using ground mustard. Or you can even use a pickling spice, you know, the whole pickling spice. But we're going to use probably about a teaspoon of ground mustard. And again, you can adjust all of this to your taste. Now, a lot of people don't do this when making chow-chow or anything with cabbage, but you are still wanting this to stay crisp like you would for any kind of a relish, a hot dog or hamburger or sandwich relish. So I am going to be using the pickling crisp, and I'm going to use about an eighth to a quarter of a teaspoon per half pint jar. About a quarter of a teaspoon for a pint, a half a teaspoon for a quart. Okay? Now once we washed all of our vegetables with the vinegar water solution and or the soap solution here, I've got my vegetable brush that I use. It's got a little bleach alternative in the Ajax here. We get this nice and clean and rinsed 2 or 3 times really well. Then we're going to rinse our cabbage as well. Then we're going to slice it up and we're going to soak it in water as well again. Now once we get all this chopped up and chopped however, you know, either I like mine a little thicker in the dice. I like little square dices. But if you like the shredded and really fine, that's fine too. But I use a lot of this in, like I said, chicken salad, tuna salad, egg salad, potato salad, you name it. And when I use it for that as well as hamburgers and hot dogs, I like a little chunkier taste. I like to taste my vegetables individually. So I like a little bit thicker chunk, and I'll show you that here when I'm done chopping. But here I have 2 identical bowls, and what I'll do is I'll chop all this, I'll put it in here, and then I'm going to cover it with enough water and about 2 tablespoons of salt and some ice, and we're going to throw this in the refrigerator for about 6 to 24 hours. Anywhere from 6 hours to 24 hours. So you can do this a day ahead, go to work, come back, or go shopping, whatever, come back, and then you can can this up, okay? So we're going to get that far, and we're going to be right back, and I'm going to show you how to make the brine. Okay, here I just have my vegetables diced, and you can see here by the carrots, you can see the size of the dice here that I've got. Now you can shred this, that's fine, but I just hand dice this here on my cutting board with my chef's knife, and that's fine. This is the zucchini, and you can see the size of the dice of that. I mean, very small. Very small. Here's the orange pepper. Here's the pickles. Here's the red onion. So all relatively about the same size of cut. The red. And then I just want to show this to you here. Here, if I dip down in here, you can see the cabbage. Here's the size of the cabbage that I cut right there. All right, so now we're just going to blend it all in here. We're just going to put in enough water to cover. We're going to put in a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of canning salt. You must use canning salt. Anything else can turn your brine brown and your pickles brown, or your whatever you're canning, whatever you're pickling brown. And we are pickling this. It is going to have vinegar in it. So we don't want to turn our cabbage and our vegetables brown. So we're going to put some ice on this, pack this in water, salt and ice, and we're going to let this sit in the refrigerator or out on the counter. We will see you back here when we're done. Okay, we've just split this into 2 bowls. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our canning salt, because it has no iodine in it, and like I said, iodine will cause your pickling cucumbers and stuff to turn brown in your cabbage. You don't want that. The iodine in it will do that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put on about a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half of salt on each one of these. We're going to, this is going to get the water and stuff out of the cabbage. And remember, we're going to rinse this 2 or 3 times after we've let this sit. Now, you can cover this water, or you don't have to cover this with water. But I do. I cover mine with water. See this? See? Just enough water here to cover the vegetables. Kind of mix that salt in there just a little bit, and that will draw the water here out of that cabbage. Do that with the other bowl. Here we go. Again, just enough water to cover. See that? Just enough water to cover. And you have to have really dry hands here, really clean, dry hands. And what we're going to do is we're just going to set some ice now on top of that. There you go. this on the counter for about 8 hours or up in the refrigerator up to 24 hours. So this is something that you can make up a day ahead. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just set mine aside for a couple of hours, probably maybe 6-8 hours, and we'll be right back. Hi, Chef and Builder Janie Pendleton. We're back in the kitchen where we're gonna finish making our chow-chow. So we're gonna start with some hot water. Do not boil this. You just wanna bring this to a very simmering, very little bubbles on the bottom, and then you wanna turn this off. Here we're using a tall stock pot, and we're just sterilizing our glass jars. This is water bath canning, so you do want to sterilize your jars. Okay, another stock pot. We're going to use vinegar with at least about 5% acidity. They add water to it. And we're going to add 5 cups of vinegar. 5 cups of white distilled vinegar. Add one more. There we go. Now water's already added to the vinegar to make it 5%, to cut it. The vinegar, we're going to add 5 cups of sugar. Okay, 3, 4, and I'm going to take the 5th cup of sugar and I'm going to fill it up, but I'm going to set it aside because I'm not sure yet that I need it. So I'm just going to set this aside and we'll go from there. Now, and go ahead and be sure and sterilize all your utensils, anything that's going to be touching anything here. You want it sterilized. Okay, and to this I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of celery seed. I like the celery seed. I'm going to add 2 shakes, or a couple of little shakes there, of the crushed red pepper flakes. Just a couple shakes. And here you can either add whole mustard, you know, the little seeds, mustard seeds, or the ground mustard. And I'm just going to add 1 to 2 teaspoons. And I don't even think I even have that much left of this. I'm going to have to use what I got here. And that's it. I'm out of mustard seed. I've made a lot of pickles this week, so get it all out of there. That should be about 2 teaspoons of mustard seed or mustard powder. Here is ground turmeric. Half a teaspoon of ground turmeric. I like the coloring of it, so I'm going to add a little bit more. You can add about, like I said, you can adjust these spices. You can add what you like. I'm going to add a couple of dashes of ground clove, because that's what I like. And my secret ingredient, my garam masala. Now the stuff I get from Berry Farm Foods, again that's berryfarmfoods.com. I like the taste of it better than the gourmet collection from McCormick's that I get here at Walmart. Or you can make your own, and I'll tell you in a second what's in it. This right here is just a half a teaspoon of garam masala. And I'm going to tell you what's in here. It's got coriander, ground black pepper, ground cumin, ground cardamom, and ground cinnamon. Okay, so that's what's in garam masala. That's what's in their version. Berry Farm Foods has some little extras in it, which is their little secret, I guess. But I like the way it tastes. I think it's nutmeg, to be honest with you. And a couple of extra dashes of cinnamon, because that's what I like. Now we're going to give this a stir. Whenever you're pickling, you don't want to use anything that's made of iron, cast iron, or anything like that. Stainless steel is fine, but don't use aluminum or anything like that. Use a plastic or use stainless steel. It's very, very, very important you do that, and that you only use sterilized equipment when water bath canning. Okay, we're going to give that a stir. We're going to let this simmer for 3 minutes. And then we're going to taste it. And I've got my tasting spoons here. You never want to double dip. That's really good, but I think it needs the other cup of sugar. Blend that in there. Let's give that another try with a clean spoon. Woo! That's perfect right there. That's good. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it, but it still has that vinegar bite. That's what you want. Okay, here we have our 2 containers of, wash my hands here really, really well. We're going to handle any food without safe handling. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to remove the ice cubes here. It's very cold water. And you can see how much more water we have this morning, not just from that ice melting, but what came out of that cabbage and the pickles. Very cold. And what we're going to do is we're going to drain this. And then we're going to, and I don't want to water down that vinegar. That's why I'm taking out the ice cubes. I don't want those to melt in the hot water brine. And we're going to drain this in the sink. We're going to rinse it 3 times. Each bowl. Get all the ice cubes out the best I can here. Okay. And we're going to rinse this 3 times. Now we're not going to be adding any more salt now. That was it. We're just going to rinse all this salt off. So 3 times. When I say I'm going to rinse something 3 times, that basically means that I'm going to rinse it for about a minute, minute and a half. Get all that extra salt and all that impurities and water and stuff, and get that cabbage reduced. Now look at the color on that. Isn't that just gorgeous? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now we're going to take this over and we're going to put it in our brine solution. Make sure I get all the water drained off of it really well, because I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to water down our solution. Just going to add this to our brine solution that's been simmering for about 3 or 4 minutes. Make sure you get it all. Okay, and we'll get the other one dumped in here, and this will help us to ensure that we have enough fluids. And we're going to simmer this. Get a nice simmer going, a nice kind of boil simmer going here. And we're going to do that for about 3 to 5 minutes, no more than 5 minutes, because this is going to continue to cook in the water bath canner. And you can add a little green food color into this if you'd like. You want a little bit more green color, but I choose to be able to see this through the jar. Here you can see the color of the actual fluids coming off. It's got some nice coloring. I'm going to get this done and get this in the pot with the other, and we'll be right back. Okay, our jars are ready. Remember, when canning, you want to use clean, bleached towels. You want the towels to be sterile as well. But you don't want to use your best towels either, okay? Because you can get, you can dye and stain your towels. Now here, I'm just using half pints. And to these half pints, I am going to be adding some pickling crisp. And I'm going to add about an 1/8 of a teaspoon. Okay, this is 1/4 of a teaspoon. I'm just going to add about an 1/8 of a teaspoon to each jar. Everything here should be sterilized. Hot jars, hot liquid, hot jars. Remember that, you don't want to crack your jars. Give this a nice stir first. And we've got our lids here, they're hot and ready to go. And we're just going to put that in there to about 1/4 inch headspace. It's a little bit too much. I'll come back and fix that here in just a minute. Quite so much juice. Okay. What I'm going to do here, and I'm actually glad this happened, because what you want to do is you want to reach in here and you can just transfer it over to the other one, just like that right there. Make sure you don't have too much liquid. Now I think in this one right here I have a little bit too much liquid and not enough, there we go. So there we go, and you can put your spoon in and you can kind of see how thick it is. I don't like to have too much juice. I like to have more, some more vegetables, not too much juice. And when I start getting it the way that I want it, and you want about 1/4 of an inch, there you go. Now see that? Now it feels a little thicker when I put my spoon in, about even right there. There you go, perfect. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of the crisping, just a little bit. 1/8 of a teaspoon. Okay. And then we sterilize this as well. The vinegar is burning my eyes here. Get the air bubbles out. Always want to debubble it. Remember, I only simmered this mixture in the brine for about 3 to 5 minutes. I just want to reiterate on that. Okay. Handful of napkins. Take a clean one here. Dip it down inside your sterile water here. It's nice and hot. You can even use vinegar. There we go. Never reuse this. And if you want to, you can measure. This is a measure right here. You want about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch. And right there is about between the 1/4 and the 1/2 inch right there. Okay, now that we know we got the thickness that we want, then we can all make them pretty uniform. I'm going to have plenty of juice left over. And you want to hand tighten these. And what I use is I just use a doubled up napkin here. Grab a hold of that. That's hand tightened right there. You can put these on too loose. I've seen people actually just go like this right here and call that hand tightened. That's not hand tightened. This right here, I'm going to show you one more time, is hand tightened. And don't use one of those tools either. That's not going to do it. Right there, that's hand tightened. That's about 1/8 of a turn further than what, just until it comes to a stop. Now we're going to run these over and we're going to go ahead and put these in the water bath canner. But I want to show this to you. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that just gorgeous? Chow-Chow. That's what they call this, Chow-Chow. Go ahead and we'll get some more jars. And I just wanted you to know that you should always can with a canning rack in the bottom of your canner. I've seen people can pickle, relish, and pickles without the canning rack in the bottom of the canner. Just pull out something from your roasting pan, you know, just anything. But you've got to get those air bubbles and everything up underneath here. Turn my handle. There we go. So I need to empty out some of that liquid. Bubble it. Add a little bit more of the vegetables because I like mine thicker. Feels good. Clean napkin. And put a little bit more in there. Nice and debubbled. You can even give it a little tap like that if you want to. Oh, you know what? I forgot my pickling crisp in the last one, but that's okay. Mix that in. It's not necessary that you put it in there, but I like to have it. Head. Wipe that rim down. Again, we're not going to reuse that. Adjust your lid. Finger tighten. And more jars. Now, let me tell you, the reason why I use these half pint jars, because that's enough for a large thing of potato salad or chicken salad or something along that line. And I know it's not going to go bad. It's just my husband and I right now. My kids are either out of college and off on their own now, or they're in college and they just, they're just living on their own. So they don't need that much either. So even when I give it away as gifts, I know that that much will get used. It's not going to get wasted. Sprinkle this. There you go. Debubble it. There we go. Feels good. Wipe the rims. Get all that sugar and sticky stuff off there. We don't want that on there. And then adjust the lids. Remember, finger tighten. I hope that my canning videos help you. And also, sometimes I'll even go like this and run a wet finger across there. You've seen me do that before. I'm canning this up so fast, it's really not necessary because the water's still finger tighten right there. Okay. Couple more and we're going to be done. And we'll see you back here at the can. Okay, we're just going to put the last jars in here. Try to make room here for one more jar. I think I'll move that over. Yeah, I'll have room for one more jar right there. Okay, now we're going to bring this up to a boil. Put on the lid. Just a clear lid with a vent on here is fine. And when I bring this up to a nice rolling boil, okay, then our time will start. And we're going to time it for 10 minutes. And we'll see you back here when it's done simmering. All right. Our 10 minutes are up, and what we want to do now is we just want to shut this off. But I want to show you this. See that kind of boil we have going there? That's the kind of boil that you want for 10 minutes, okay? And I did put a little bit of vinegar in the water, so that way the jars would not get cloudy. Now what we're going to do here is we've turned off the heat. We're going to move this off the heat, just like that. And we're going to let this rest. In fact, sometimes I just take the lid off. And we're going to let this rest in the canner until this is nice and calm. We don't want to break any glasses since it's it's almost 90 degrees out today and we got the air conditioner on. We don't want to bring that out into cold air, a cold breeze or a cold draft and these jars break. We worked too hard on this. So just let them settle in here for a few minutes and we'll be right back. Okay, these have sat in the hot water until they've calmed down a little bit, about 5 minutes. Wow, isn't that just beautiful? Look at that. Beautiful jewel-toned summer memories right there. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. This is, ooh, popped. Okay, this made 10 half-pint jars. This is chef and builder Janie Pendleton. And I hope you've enjoyed coming along for the ride. And I can't wait till we get on to our next video. Be sure and hit the subscribe button. Blessings!